manual. This is great if you want to learn how to drive a truck, a bus, or a school bus. And so I'm going to make a digital notebook of this. Now I'm checking this out in 4 different browsers. Right here you see the cover, CDL cover, and if I click over here, this is where my notes will be. And so this is what it looks like in Firefox. Now the cover, when you open the cover, if you go down here and click on the image, it says click to open, and this actually opens the study page over top. Okay. And if I go back, you can see the cover page again, back again, and it takes you to the actual study area. So that's Firefox. This is what it looks like in Internet Explorer. Click the image to study the manual, click it, and here is the study area. And Google Chrome, this is what it looks like in Google Chrome. You click the image, and it takes you to the study area. Finally, in Opera, this is what the cover looks like. If you click it, this is what the study area looks like. So I've got 2 web pages. I don't need to keep all these open. I just showed you how it looks in all of them. I'll just keep Chrome open and get rid of these other ones. Okay, let's go over the web page code for cover.html first. That's this page right here. I took a photo of the book with my cell phone and gave it a border, put it inside this field set, gave it a legend up here to tell you what to do. Click the image to study the manual. Alright, so you got cover.html, and here's the top. HTML, opening head tag, title says CDL cover, which you see up here in the tab. There's the link, this whole thing right here, link rel equals shortcut icon, href equals bus2.ping, type equals image /x icon. That's this little icon that I got from the internet. It looks like a little bus and kind of looks like a bus stop sign next to it. It's really hard to tell when it's so little. And here we have a bunch of styles from line 5 to line 29. For the field set, I gave it a height of 600 pixels and a width of 600 pixels and a text line of center. For the legend, I gave it a color of blue, a font size of 20 pixels, and a font family of cursive. I have a style that's a class, so it's got dot and the word center, and that class center I gave a height of 90%. And then for the image itself, the image tag, I gave it a border of 20 pixels white ridge. So you see around the image it's got 20 pixels of white ridge. Alright, that's the end of the style, the end of the head. Here's the body. The only thing we've got in the body is a field set and a legend. The legend says click the image to study the manual. We looked at that already right here. And then inside the underneath the legend, we have an image link. So first you have the link tag on line 34 that says aref equals cdl.html. So that takes me to this page, this actual study page. And then class equals center. So it's taking on that 90% height. And title equals click to open. So that's basically just so if you hover over the image, you get that little pop-up tooltip that says click to open. Even though the legend said click the image to study the manual, there's also that mouse over hover thing that gives you that tooltip click to open, and that's by using this title attribute inside the image tag itself. And right here, this is the end of the image tag, the end of the a link, the end of the field set, the end of the body, the end of the HTML. So all of this was this little cover area right here. So I'm going to close out of that. So I'm going to click on the cover, like it says, click on the image and it takes you to here, and that's the CDL.html page right here that we're looking at. So at the top of that page we have HTML, head, title. Here it's called CDL Notes, and you can see up there CDL Notes. It's got the same shortcut icon, link rel equals shortcut icon, href equals bus2.ping, type equals image /x icon. So you can see this little bus up here. And style, we have body margin 0 pixels, auto, padding 0 pixels. Anything I z'd out I could just get rid of, no reason to hold on to anything that I misspelled. The div with an ID of container, border 20 pixels, and this color is pound 993366. It gives us that kind of fuchsia pinkish purple border. Outset, height 94%, float left, padding 0 pixels, margin 0 pixels, and a minimum width of 650 pixels. Then I have a div with an ID of left, width of 28%. I z'd out this display inline so I can take that out. Float left, height 95%, overflow scroll, padding 10 pixels. Then I have this div with an ID of right, width 62%. Again, if I z something out, it's misspelled and it's not doing anything anyway, so I might as well take it out. Could leave it for future testing purposes, but I don't want to. With 62%, height 95%, overflow scroll, and padding 10 pixels. Field set. Border thick black ridge, margin bottom 80 pixels. UL for unordered list. We have margin left negative 40 pixels, list style position inside. That's allowing our little bus image right here to be on the inside of the list area instead of on the outside of it. List style image, URL, tinybus.bmp. So make sure you do it exactly this way. List style image, URL, parentheses, and single quotes, the name of your image, and then that semicolon. Okay, the list items itself. Now this I'm actually going to keep these z'd out because there was a couple of different ways that I could use these images with my image links. One was to give it a list style image in the UL element itself, the unordered list, and another way was to give this list item its own background URL. So I'm going to keep the z'd out ones, even though they're not reading this set of styles. I will keep these for future reference in case I want to try this with a different navigation. So anyway, for the list items, I have font size 17 pixels, border thick gray outset, padding 5 pixels. This Z background URL, tinybus, bitmap, left, center, no repeat is not actually being utilized, but like I said, I'm going to keep it here in case I want to use it in the future. Same thing with the Z padding left 50 pixels. What this does is if I don't want to use a list style image in the UL, I can use a background image in the LI and then just give it a padding to move the text that much away from the image. So it's just another way to do it, but I liked the way this looked better because when I did it this way, it kind of crammed the bus really up against the border here, and I didn't like how that looked. So I kept it here in the UL instead of the LI. Then I've got an LI hover, list item hover, and this background color, it's this like light gray. It's pound BFC 9CA. For my A tag, which is my link tag, I have text decoration of none. My text area has all this. Resize none. This is the text area right here because I don't want the user to be able to fool around with this, like dragging the corners and making the text area small or large. I want it to be what it is. So resize none, width 100%, height 90%, padding 10%. 10 pixels, border 20 pixels, gray inset, Font size 20 pixels, margin bottom 20 pixels, and background color, this is the same as the list item hover. It is pound BFC 9CA. Then my audio player, my audio tag right here, width of 98% and border of thick gray solid. I needed to do that because not all browsers have the audio player looking the same. And this right here, as you can see, has a white background and it's on top of something else with a white background. So what happens is you can't hardly see it. It's kind of like, it's not as pronounced. So I gave it this gray border so that it stands out more. And then my H2 is my header level 2 tag. And I gave that a margin of 0 pixels, a color of blue, and a font family of cursive. And of course, everywhere you see that H2 header, it's going to be blue, and this is the font style. It says that it's cursive. That doesn't really look too cursive. It just looks a little rounded, but whatever, it's good enough for me. It stands out. So there's the end of the style, the end of the head. Here's the body, and we have a div with an ID of container. So actually, up here, I didn't have to do div pound container because pound container means ID container. So I can just have pound container, pound left, and pound right, and it will still work. It won't change anything. So again, body, container, div ID left, field set, legend, CDL training, and right here's that legend, CDL training. Here's the UL tag for the unordered list, and here's all of the list items. There's the first list item. The list item is LI. It starts on the inside. Right here to here is actually the list item, and on the outside, on the right and on the left of it, it is being enclosed by a link tag. So on the outside here, aref equals #1. This #1 is an anchor. It's going to anchor link to these contents that is further in the same page, and I'll show you that. So aref equals, in double quotes, #1. Then we get to the li. I gave it an on-click event. Li on-click equals, and then in double quotes, style.background color. Notice how background color is spelled. The C is capitalized. Equals, and then in single quotes we have the background color that I want to use. Pound BFC 9CA, and then you have your semicolon and the ending of your double quotes. In between those LI tags, you have the word introduction because that is the subheading in the book. Your ending LI tag and your ending A tag. And all we do is take this single bit of code and copy and paste it over and over again until we have a total of 13 subtopics, 13 headings. So this one is number 1, this one has a number 2. Everything else is the same as far as the background, the on-click, background color, just the titles are different. This one's driving safely. The third one is transporting cargo safely, and the href is a #3. #4, transporting passengers safely. #5, air brakes. #6, combination vehicles. #7, doubles and triples. #8, tank vehicles. #9, hazardous materials. #10, school buses. #11, pre-trip vehicle inspection. #12, basic vehicle control skills test. And last but not least, #13 will anchor to on-road driving, the notes for that. So there's the end of the UL tag, the end of the unordered list, the end of the field set, the end of the div. Now we're going to move on to the div with the ID of right. Here is what all those pound numbers are going to link to. The anchor tags. The href equals #1 anchors or links to this part right here, this H2 header tag. That is the ID equal to 1 in double quotes. So when we hit this link, it's got the href, the href linking to #1. So when we click this, we're going to get to this spot right here on our page, and it's going to open up right here. So H2 is that header, ID is 1. The header says introduction, just like the list item says introduction, so that they match. And there's the end of the H2, and here we have an audio control. Audio controls, this is the opening tag, this is the closing tag, and inside the opening and closing audio controls tag we have the source. Source src equals 1.mp3. And so I used Audacity to create 1.mp3 sound file. And then I put it in there right underneath the header tag. So you see the header is right here. You see the audio player is right here that's able to play an MP3 player. And then right underneath that we have the text area that right here it says blah blah notes for introduction chapter. Inside the text area tags you see blah blah notes for introduction chapter. So this is where I'll put my notes. I'll create my MP3 where I read the chapter, and that will be 1.mp3. I will type whatever I want to memorize from the chapter, put it in there, and then we go to the next section. This H2, ID equals 2, driving safely. Here in audio controls, I'll be reading driving safely, and I will save that as 2.mp3. And the text area, whatever I feel I need to type in there for notes, will go there. So when I click driving safely here, it takes me right to driving safely here. It takes me right here in my code. And I can just say, drive safe, drive safe, drive safe. Now save it and refresh the page, and see, that's how I will see my notes. And we do the same thing over and over. The H2 header, the audio controls, the text area, and just copy and paste all this until we have 13 complete sections with their own H2 header, their own audio controls, and their own text area, all the way to the last one, which is this H2 ID equals 13 on road driving, audio controls, source src equals, this will equal 13.mp3. I haven't created that yet. And the text area, this will be notes for chapter 13. Haven't created that yet. There's the end of that div. That div is div ID right. This div is the div ID for the container that contained both of those other divs. See, div ID container, that matches. And then you have the end of the body, the end of the HTML. So with that, I have basically showed you my digital skeleton, my plan for how I'm going to get through this Ohio Commercial Driver's License Manual by utilizing this multimedia digital notebook.